Yes, so we are live now. Hello, everybody. Good evening, good morning in different parts of the world. And today, thank you to Tracy Brown, a renowned expert on body language. Thank you, Tracy, for accepting my invitation and coming over for sharing your knowledge, your experience with all of us. So it would be great if you give you a quick introduction of yours so we can start the show.
Oh, got it. Yeah. Well, I am here in Colorado in the USA, and I am a body language expert. And I focus mostly on deception and how to spot who's lying to you. And
Okay.
I get to work on all sorts of investigations and crimes and politics. I do a lot of TV for that, but mostly what I do is I'm a keynote speaker. So I go to conferences. I mean, we don't have conferences right now, so I'm at home. But yeah, I speak and help people learn how to use body language really strategically in their business, so that they can build their bottom line.
So thank you very much for letting us know who you are, and I'm really glad that you're here because there are certain things that are very important in our lives. Communication is one of them. So mostly us focus on the way we talk or the choice of words, the maybe the tone. But there's another thing which is very much important is the non-verbal communication, and which is called the body language thing. So I'll start the show by asking you question that what do you think how much critical is paying close attention to body language. And again, this I'm asking this question in terms of because we are living a total different life which we used to be maybe 20 days ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
So over to you.
So, body language is still important, and it's actually more important now than it ever was, because we have less contact with people. So we need to get all the information that we can when we do see them on a video like this, or maybe we see our neighbors across the street, those kinds of things. So I would say it's absolutely more vital right now to understand body language, because we only have this much to see.
Exactly.
It's such a big part of our communication, because the body is screaming exactly what's going on in someone's mind. It's up to us to learn to read it, so that you get the real message and not just brush over things that can be really vital in a conversation.
Excellent. So see, like we are communicating, you're in another part of the world, I'm somewhere located in another part of the world, and although we both do a lot of keynote speaking sessions, so we are a bit confident and also comfortable with each other talking virtually. But as the world shifted on virtual framework in terms of work, I'm saying there's a lot of softwares are being used, video conferencing calls are being done, and environment makes a lot of difference, right? So if we are working in office, people going here and there, saying hi, and we're dressing like normal. So how it impacts people when working from home? Does the body language changes or the thinking changes? What happened?
So our thinking does change when we're at home, because we're at home, and it can be a lot more casual if indeed you have a place set up to work. And I think by now most of us who are working at home probably do. And if you don't have a place to really work, if you're not comfortable, that can actually add some stress to the situation. It's going to change it can change your decision making, because see, here's the thing: where the body goes, the mind is going to follow, and we don't make decisions well in stress. Now, the whole situation overall is stressful, but generally, and a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people feel more safe at home. And now we have this situation where some people are actually locked in with an abuser right now, or they're locked in to where they don't have food, right? Like little kids maybe don't have food. So it's not necessarily great for everyone. I think some people are going to be more stressed. Some people are going to be more relaxed. And I think for the people who are tending to be more relaxed, kind of like me, we have to make sure that we are doing the things that's going to give us the proper attention level so that we can actually succeed. So one of the things today that I did was I put on a real pair of pants, like not yoga pants, and like I'm not wearing my pajamas, right? Because I wanted to be up and ready for you and making sure that I'm spot on, giving you the best information and keeping it up tempo for people. If I'm too relaxed, people are not going to be as engaged as they could be. Yeah. So I think whether it's, putting on like you look like you're wearing a button down. I don't know if people wear T-shirts in Pakistan or how y'all do that, but there's definitely like your energy is going to impact your choices, and that starts a lot with what you're wearing. So consider that, right? That you need to get your energy across exactly as you would in person. And actually, you got to try a little bit harder because video doesn't always capture all your energy. And
yeah, exactly.
It's super important to get that across to get people's attention. Like if you're trying to lead a team, you got to make sure that you're uptime, because I guarantee you your team is not trying near as hard as you are to engage.
Okay, thank you so much. One thing that you I just took it from your conversation is like how important it is to dress properly, because it does impact your body language, right? As you said, if I am in my pajamas, so and again, attending a video call or a video conference call with my boss or somebody, a board of directors, definitely would impact so much that I will not be able to participate like a proper. I would have done it in the real world.
Wait, say that again. I lost you a little bit there.
Okay, so I am saying how much important is that you dress properly before going into a video call. Does it impact your body language? Does it make you more relaxed?
Well, yeah. So if you're too relaxed, you're not gonna get across what you need to get across with maybe the level of urgency that you need to get it across with. And now being at home is cool, and being a little more relaxed is cool. However, there's still things that need to get done, and so you got to make sure that you're getting that across. And if you're too relaxed, it's gonna come out in your voice, and it's gonna come out in your body language. Like if I'm sitting back like this, whoa, watch out for this. It's just a screen that's up. Do you see how this is different? Like I'm more apt if I'm not if I'm too relaxed to sit back and see. Now it doesn't seem like I'm really that engaged, right?
Exactly.
It's a lot more relaxed. And so what I'm going to do is make sure I'm sitting up, right? And notice how much space between my head and the top of the screen there is. That's on purpose, because I'm coming through and I am in your face. Okay. Casually, even if the top of my head gets cut off, that's okay. And that's just good cinematography. Right. So if we're going to do that for you, I'd ask you to move your camera a little bit so that your the top of your head is right bumped up against the top of your screen. There you go. Keep going. There's a little more. See that? See how much difference that makes? Like a little more. There you go. Yeah. So it's those little bitty things that you do with attention to detail that change the way you're received. Because that's really what we're talking about here. It's like body language is one thing, but actually it's about how you create a response in whoever is across from you. And like I said, little cinematography things like this screen here, you saw how I almost tipped it over. Behind me is a big poster that would be distracting for people on the call, right? Which could be cute, I guess. However, it's not going to get me across with impact. And that's exactly what you need to do, is like the little things to create impact, like your lighting, like things like that. Like now is the time to pay attention to those details.
Oh, thank you so much. So, one of the things that not everybody is very much comfortable, like, in having a video call or conference, because not everybody's communication skills are not that good, right? So, it may work out in a physical world where we have got people, even though if I'm not feeling very comfortable or I don't understand anything, so I can go to somebody and ask him or her that, can you please go again? I didn't get you. I didn't understand. And what happens if something like, I want to capture more details. But in this work from home scenario, so how important or how what what you need to do is to decode the remote body language. Like you gave a lot of examples. Thank you
Oh,
so much.
got it. Okay, so really, you gotta to start to decode remote body language. Again, we got the backwards. It's not it's not any different than what's going to happen in person. That's the thing, but you're just going to want to pay a little more attention because you don't have people around you all day that maybe you would. So you need to get that information more quickly, right? So first thing, people lean back. When people lean back, they generally move away from things they don't like. They move towards things they do like or are interested in. Okay, so
let me fix my position.
yeah, good. You look good. Okay, so let's say you're a project manager and you have to get your team go in the right direction. Okay, so that means you have to hand down some directives, some orders, some procedures to follow. If you suddenly see maybe one of your team leads lean back like this, like they may not be on board. So you need to make sure that you're asking them exactly like what's on their mind. And all you have to do is say, hey, it seems like maybe you're thinking about something here that I haven't seen, or maybe you're just not on board. Why don't you let me know what it is? And if you don't want to do that like online here, like I get it, that's okay. We can have a call, we can have a private email, text after that, right? So make sure that you're understanding that. Now, if people are happy, right, so they may nod to say they heard you, right? Or they may nod to say they agree with you, okay, which are two different things, because they could disagree but hear you, but not they could disagree but hear you, or they could agree and hear you, right? So you'll see this, but what you want to do is look for their eyes, right? So our eyes are really what smiles. It's not our mouth will smile, but the smile really happens in your eyes. So look at those eyes, look for the wrinkles right here, and that tells you true happiness. So you can smile without your eyes smiling, and that's a sign of submission. Okay, so it's someone who sees you as a superior and they're just saying yes in a way that they may think is going to make you happy. So watch out for that, because I think it's always better to have people working for you that are actually excited about what's going on. And so again, they're telling you that they have unspoken questions, and you need to make sure that you're answering those to their satisfaction, really, to get full effort out of them. So you do need to make sure you're deciphering that. Now, people's eyebrows are really important to look at. So you can see how my eyebrows right now, you see how they're kind of going, wait, there we go. Yeah. The camera is reversed. Okay. So you see how they're kind of going down in the middle. So that says anger. Okay. But if they were going up, like, hang on, it's so hard to do when I'm looking at myself in reverse. If they were going up like this, I can't do it. Okay, if they were going up like this, okay, that says sadness. Okay, if people's eyes get really big, you see the whites of their eyes, that says fear. Okay, and all of these, because we're in different countries here, all of these are universal. Okay, and this was brought to light more by Dr. Paul Ekman, and you might have seen that microfacial expressions. You might have seen that TV show Lie to Me, where they solve crimes based on body language. It's pretty true. And what he did to figure that out is really interesting. In the 60s, he went to Papua New Guinea, and found some tribes that had, quote, never seen white people before. And he would tell them something. Like, he got to know him, and he'd be like, "Oh, your kid died." Right. And he'd take a picture of him real quick, and he would see this response of sadness from them. So that's how he determined over time that, this is hardwired. It's not culturally based, which is super important, right? To start to understand people's emotions. Because like I said, we have a limited amount of time with people on Zoom. Like, we're scheduling meetings. We don't have time to stop by their desk later and kind of see them and take a temperature on how they're doing and stuff like that, right? So you really need that information right away. And a lot of times the eyebrows will be a telltale.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, because being a leader, being a manager, it is very much important, because in a co-working space, we can always throw orders and go back to the person and ask whether they're feeling right or they need any help or support. But since, as you mentioned, that we have got very limited time within Zoom calls or WebEx or whatever collaboration software they're using, so we need to be absolutely sure that we are in contact, in connection with them. So what the next question is, what are the gestures that people need to avoid in a conference call, in a video conference call?
The gestures to avoid. Now, I when you sent me the questions, I saw this and I was like, that is really interesting, because I think the key is to be yourself. And while it can be harder to engage when you're just looking at a little camera, if you're thinking about what not to do, you're going to screw it up, right? Body language is natural. We don't want to have you come across as fake or stiff, but I think like some of the things not to do is, you've seen that video of the girl in the Zoom call and she goes to the bathroom, like stuff like that, right? Like, try to stay in one place and try to be professional to the best of your ability, if that's what the situation calls for. Maybe you're on a Zoom call with your friends and it's happy hour and it's okay to wander around your house or go outside. And so just consider always how you're coming across, and that you're always coming across on Zoom. Now, one of the things that you can do, if it's not so important that you're completely engaged, like, because I've been to some group meetings, like for the National Speakers Association and things like that, where, you know what, they don't need to see me. I'm just listening. So I will turn my camera off and I'll mute myself so that I can do whatever I want, but I can still listen and I'm still there and my picture's still on the screen. I just, I know I don't need to be on the camera, right? So I don't worry about it. And that way I can get other stuff done. Nobody knows. I mean, they probably guess because I went to my picture, and everyone can tell that. But I think the key really is to be yourself and make sure your camera is placed correctly. Like, I can't tell you how many people, they have the camera below them and you can see right up their nose. Like, that's horrible. And plus, you want the camera kind of pointed down on you just slightly. And that actually makes you more attractive because it makes your eyes bigger in relation to your chin. And that's why we think babies and puppies are attractive, because their eyes are bigger. And we'd also see, we see Princess Diana do this, right? So she kind of look down like this and then look up. And I'm not very good at looking alluring. She had it down, I think, a lot better than me. But you can see that if you look at some of those pictures. So make sure you give yourself a shot with your camera and where you place it.
Oh, fantastic. So, not everybody is, as I told you, like, not everybody is very much comfortable. But again, with these sort of tips, we can get used to, because now it's in Pakistan, it is a third week. Third week is over, more than 20 days now. So we are now adjusting to this kind of life, and everybody has not developed some kind of a method to proceed, move on, right? Mm-hmm. But again, tips are really useful, but because every day, if somebody has having like 10 minimum 10 on average 10 video calls with team members, or something like that. So he can be very, very effective by using these small things and taking care of these small things, right?
Well, yeah, I think so. And I think it's also important. Like people will forgive bad video. They won't forgive bad audio. And
Yeah.
so I think if you set yourself up well, so you have a place where you do your calls, where you know it's not distracting, you know you can get the camera just right. Like have a system you don't have to set up. So for me, what you can't see here, see,
Yeah.
this is my microphone, and my dog yanked this off the counter and broke my stand. So my husband made this little cardboard to stand for it, right? But it's great. But what I learned is, oh, and you'll see I have a towel down here. This is a towel.
Yeah.
This is for echo, and it's very slight, right? But I probably sound pretty good. Reason being is the microphone isn't that far from my mouth. Like I set it on a box, which is a box of toner, which is pretty exciting. And but it's just something that I had. But guess what? I keep it by my desk. I can just do this. I don't have a big contraption, one of those big arms that comes in, because I don't want to junk up my office with that. But I have a system, so make it easy for yourself, so you're not always fumbling around and trying to get it right. And I think that's another big key in creating comfort in what we're doing, because we're all moving into this. Who knows how long we're going to be this way?
Exactly.
Longer than probably we all want. So yeah, just remember that, like, make it easy on yourself, and that'll help you relax, and that'll help the body language flow. But I think the big point here is to learn how to read people in the time you have with them, in the frame that you have with them, and don't neglect an opportunity to ask them about what you're seeing, because you hit end meeting and you're done, and you don't have any chance to really get the truth from them, unless you get them on another video call. So you need to pick up the phone, you need to text them, you need to figure out exactly what's on their mind really quickly.
Thank you so much, Chrissy. One more thing that I, as a manager or somebody who really wants to make an impression, or who's communicative, who can connect with people, is it's easier for me if I'm in a boardroom and talking to people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how can we make that strong or that effective impression when we're working with remote people dispersed in different locations, even in different part of the world? How can we make that strong, impression and connection with the people, so it doesn't feel that you are so far away, and still they can feel what I was saying.
Mm-hmm.
You can connect it to everybody, not just one person. Maybe if there are 10 people, I have to be connected to everybody at some point in time. Right.
So a couple things. One, make sure your energy is good before you go on screen, because where charisma gets, it is harder to charisma is just harder to do on camera. That's why some people make millions of dollars in Hollywood, because they're really good on camera, right? And some don't. Now, here's the thing. So what are you going to do? Well, make sure you're up and around. Like, you can do jumping jacks beforehand if you need to. Like, get your energy up. Some people have a, like Tony Robbins says, he has like a mantra that he uses, or whatever it is. It could be coffee, it could be anything, but make sure you actually have some real energy, like more than you think you need to get on camera with. Now, here's another thing. Don't just talk. Like, me and you are just talking here, and we're on Facebook Live right now. I'm not watching the feed. Are you watching the feed on Facebook?
No, not right now.
Oh, okay. Can you get to where you're watching the feed?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So here's what we're going to do. A little quiz show, right? Something like, hey, what's the temperature where you are right now? Right? Let me know what's it, and see, like, type that in the chat box.
Okay.
Those kinds of things, like different things to engage your audience and make them type in. So one of the things that I do in my webinars, because I've done webinars for years, I have a quiz show. And we're always looking at pictures. We're always saying, like, what's the best option here? A, B, C, or D? Type it in the box. And it's really fun. Like when you get 200 or 300 people on a chat box, and you can really see the answers coming in. That's how you know you're keeping them engaged. Like give them something to do, not just sit there and listen, because that is extra boring. And we really got to find ways to liven things up. So you could say, hey, what are 10 ways or what are the top 5 ways that you know people are lying to you? Right? Because we're going to talk about lie detection today. Let's just say, type it in the box right now. And you can talk about those things that come in. Some of them are going to be true. Some of them are going to be false, right? So you don't have to do this for the whole meeting. You can do this for just a quick start, right? Just to get people engaged and keep them on their toes, because they never know when you may be going to ask another quiz question, right? So maybe you have a prize at the end, right? Everybody likes Amazon gift cards, right? Or something along those lines, just to keep people really engaged and on their toes and not really knowing what you're going to do next. Because people fall asleep when they think they know where you're going, when they think they're like, why the hell are we doing this? And
exactly.
How many meetings have you been to that are you're like, why did we have a meeting? This was the biggest waste of time. We could have done this on a text chat. My husband's he is a aerospace engineer, so he makes satellites, and I can't tell you how many times he comes home and he goes, I was in a meeting for 5 hours that we didn't even have to have. Like we could have done it in 3 emails. So make sure you're really planning ahead, get some quiz questions, get some prizes, figure out how to make people stay on their toes. I mean, even if it's a regular, like boring meeting that you have to have, just say, hey, y'all, at the half-hour mark, there's going to be something really cool. Like keep them engaged, and then do it. And that's going to change their response to what you're saying, right? And it's gonna always have them listening like a little bit more closely. And that's the key to keeping your team engaged, is really starting to get creative with how you're using this this technology.
Fantastic. So see, we don't know how much time we're going to spend in this quarantine period or lockdown. This will definitely bring some changes in our habits. And obviously, our body will also be get used to of those new habits, right? So, like social distancing is one thing that we all are practicing. It make an impact, right? Like how you can once we resume, then everything goes back to normal, and how you can train your body to be again, because you will develop new reflexes, right? For example, if I am like this in front of you. And for the next 3 months, if I am only on Zoom calls with my buddies and with my peers and with my colleagues, so when I go to the office, I still think like I am like this.
Oh, no, that won't happen. Here's the thing that's really cool is you're going to get really good at reading this part. Okay. So when you get back to the office, you still got that part, but you got a lot more as well. So it's kind of neat, right? Because you want to start small. Like reading body language isn't something you do 2 minutes a day. It's not something that you do like just at a certain time. It is you want to know what's really on people's minds. It is a 24/7 experience of life, right? To just read people a little more closely. So by the time you get back to the office, you're going to be really good at this part. Okay. And then you just have the rest you got to worry about, right? Or you don't even have to worry about it, just more to look at. So it's a neat opportunity to just build in things slowly. And this is what I do. I have books online. I have one called Persuasion Point. You can get that on Amazon or Kindle. You can get that and just get it right now. It's super cheap. It's like $2 or $3. And then I have another one called How to Detect Lies, Fraud, and Identity Theft. And that one's pretty cool too. So they're both not very long, a lot of pictures, and it'll just tell you what you need to know and get you on the ground running so that you can really start to get those messages that up to now have been hidden.
Awesome, awesome. So one thing before we ask questions from our audience who are watching, some tips for pre-meeting preparation, like so I can focus more, my body's relaxed, not that much relaxed that I tend to lose engagement, or what are the few things that we all can do before a video call or a conference call, so we can sound really energetic, we can be engaged, and we're not distracted.
Got it. Okay. So we'll just kind of go over what we talked about, right? Just kind of final recap. So
Yeah, exactly.
make sure you have good energy. So walk around, jump around a little bit. Make sure, I mean, you can do vocal warm-ups if you want to. I don't think that's probably necessary, but there's great vocal coaches out there that can help you like learn how to get your voice across exactly as you intend. I work with a vocal coach. Her name's Hillary Blair, and she is here in Denver. And I know she's working remotely now. She works with a lot of actors and things like that. So make sure your camera's good. Make sure you actually believe your message. Give people something to do. Make it more exciting than just droning on. And if you can get those things, like understand when your people are engaged, when they're not engaged, when they're with you, when they're not with you, right? If they're having a different emotional reaction than you would hope, stop and ask questions about it. If you can do those things, you're going to have your employees are going to, or your team, whoever, they're going to have a different experience of you over video, and you're going to get a lot more done. You're actually going to create a more productive team than you thought you ever could, because you took the time to just do a little bit here to engage your team differently.
Very nice. Thank you so much. So I would like to ask audience if they want to ask something before we wrap up our show today. So there are a lot of people who answered the question when you asked what's temperature where you are right now. Somebody saying cool, some cold, somebody saying humid, somebody saying something else. So that triggered the response that you were talking about, that making people engage.
Oh yeah. So what we do, because like I said, I can't see the feed right now. So what we would do is talk back to that. And I'd be like, well, it's always 60. We're on Fahrenheit here. I don't know how y'all do it over there. But I'd say, wow, it's always 68 degrees in my house. I never have to worry about what to wear, right? Like I know what temperature it's going to be. But, when I go outside, it's going to be 55 today, which is not that warm. So like I sure wish it was going to be warmer, but it's going to snow all day tomorrow, right? So you just have a little conversation, make it a little bit more personal. So, but yeah, you can start to see how you can ask people those kinds of things, like, hey, is anyone's cat in the room, right? And like, show me a picture of your cat. I kept my dog out of here on purpose because he pokes me with his nose, and I didn't want him to do that today. But hey, if your cat's around, let me see a picture of your cat, right? Those kinds of things just make it more fun than the average meeting.
Okay, so thank you so much. This is lovely, because there are a lot of things that we do every day instead, and again, we have adapted to the new lifestyle. But again, if we can do few things consciously, the result will be totally different, and we feel not only good, we feel also the impact will be greater. So one last message, if you want to say something to the audience, so they can quick thing that they can adapt very quickly, and can benefit from that.
Let's do the one better. How about just for your folks? Not a lot of people know about this. I have some free training online, and if you go to YouTube and you search 21-day body language makeover, you will find 21 videos that'll tell you all about how to read body language. So you can pick up on some of the stuff that we haven't talked about here, because we kind of did a broad brush, and it's pretty cool. It's 21 videos, and they're free, and they're all short. That's the other thing. They're all short. So you can kind of scroll through, pick the ones you like, and hopefully it'll open your eyes so you can know more than is immediately obvious. A 21-day body language makeover on YouTube.
So thank you so much for coming over and giving us the insight about the body language, because all of us needs it very, very, very much in need of that, because we all do certain things to ensure that we are leading right, we are providing the due value, but again, there's small things that can make whole lot of difference.
Yeah.
So I'm really thankful to you to taking out time and coming online and sharing your vast knowledge, a small part of the vast knowledge with everybody. So thank you so much. We'll be in touch, and if there's some questions, guys, if you want to connect to Tracy, she is on Facebook, she's on LinkedIn. You can directly connect to her, get engaged, and get a lot of value from that connection. Thank you, Tracy. With this, let's wrap up the show. And again, I would like to thank Aileen for again. She's been my course advisor in the leadership program. And thank you, Aileen, for the wonderful reference. She's lovely, and I have
Love
loved.
Aileen. Yes, yes. Thank you so much for having me. This has been fun.
Thank you so much. Bye
All right.
bye.
Take care.
Take care. Bye bye.